That's it, really.
I like it. It's neat. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah, I really
Yes,
like
Do you like doing this anyway? It's good fun. So I can feedback as sort of the guest observer. I mean, I've only done the cards once. It's quite cool. It's kind of flattering to be asked. One, yeah. It's impressive that you guys are doing this and that you choose to want to learn this really valuable skill. So I'm like going, oh, these guys are pretty cool. Anyway, and I think the format it's pretty much there, you know, because it's what's worked before. So.
But the other thing is that the physical cards also make it accessible by anybody.
Yeah, I kind of like the physical cards.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, it just brings it home. And the other thing is that it does feel a little bit more random then.
It's brilliant.
No, fair play to put your hands up for doing it. So you're ambassadors, just so I understand it. What do you do for that?
So I joined TNC's student cohort in October, but there was some problem that month. I think there were less students who signed up, so I landed up joining the professional cohort, which I think was really brilliant because I was able to understand negotiation in different sectors as well. Sorry. After that, I enjoyed it so much that I landed up collaborating my university society with TNC. And we had a negotiation about that as well. And then after that, I got a message from Jack, who put, I think Jack works with Phil. And he asked me about whether I want to become a brand ambassador for TNC and, just endorse TNC as a brand, which I have usually been doing anyway at my university. I think I got at least like 5 to 6 other students sign up for the cohorts for TNC. So yeah, that's what I do.
Cool.
I'm not quite as great as that, but I joined the cohort with Phil, and then afterwards I was asking where I could get the cards so I could practice. And at that point, he was creating the student ambassador deck.
So, very similar to this, but just student ambassador.
Yeah. And then within the student ambassador group, we kind of had a meeting last week about things that we could do, which include like this video and like book club and stuff that we could kind of just help move along with the TNC.
Cool. And why did you join? What's in it for you, so to speak? Oh no, why did you want to? That's what I meant. Both of you.
So I generally just enjoy the negotiating. Obviously we're both law students, so it's quite an important skill within law anyway. But I like that Phil's cards kind of take a step back from the law and actually practice the tactics rather than the law, if that makes sense.
Interesting. No, that's cool. Is that similar to Tanishka? Is that why are you the same uni?
Sorry?
You're the same uni, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I met Aliyah, I think a week ago in the meeting itself. But according to me, I joined TNC because like in summer I participated in a negotiation competition, which did not teach me how to negotiate, but it was just a competition which there was no learning experience or anything. So I just thought I would join student cohort and learn something about it. But the fact that after participating in 3 competitions and then attending Phil's cohort, I learned one thing, that Phil was actually passionate about teaching negotiation. And that is what hit me. And I was like, I would rather be in TNC and help promote that rather than promoting a competition, which does not really do good to students, because at our campus, we don't have anything such as negotiation. Some unis have a module of negotiation itself, but we don't have it. And that is some practical skill which is lacking here. So I was like, there's a huge possibility to do something here.
Cool. I'm nosy. Yeah. No, I think it's brilliant. I think it's really, really cool. The
amazing thing, Fred, is that since since the TNC has started to do these, the interest from students has been phenomenal. I mean, predominantly law students, because they already have, you know, such a strong understanding that negotiation is required, and also because most law firms actually use negotiation as part of their assessment centers as well. So, you know, you go for an interview, you can be pretty much guaranteed you're going to be thrown in to do a negotiation. And I think Tanishka's right. I've seen some of the competitions, and the competitions tend to be based on like the Harvard negotiation case studies. So they go in, pay $4, you get like 5 pages of background information, and then you get 1 piece of information for both the party A and the party B, and then you've got to have a negotiation on it. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that in it setting the scene for a negotiation, but it's very difficult to really get into the nitty-gritty of the negotiation skills that you are actually employing in that.
Yeah.
You know, it's about really how much information can you get and how clever you can be. And that was predominantly the reason why I created the cards, is that I needed to, and I wanted to really strip it back to the fact that one's ZOPA, yeah, and there's enough going on just with that one variable to be able to start understanding, well, what could we have done different? How did I impact on that? And you only have to see 4 or 5 negotiations with exactly the same information to realize everybody's doing something different. You don't have to create multiple case studies. You just need to negotiate with somebody different.
You're right, and I'm thinking of the type of case studies you're talking about, where you get so absorbed and you kind of get excited about this piece of information and you get fixated on it, don't you? And whereas, yeah, what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and it's just like, yeah, we've picked out no, we've picked out range, we've picked out pushback, we've picked out, and that's where the value is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, we talked about odd numbers,
as well.
you know, non-verbal communications, the use of certain words to give away indications of whether it's acceptable or not. And the really interesting thing I find about this is that, you know, Tanishka and Aliyah, you know, students, all right, it's exactly the same challenges for professionals who've been doing this for years. You know, when you dumb it down and you try something like this, there's no hiding. You know, you either know how to do it or you don't. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing how to do it either. It's a case of, okay, well, let's try this again. I mean, saying no, all right, simple. Get it in a book. In fact, there's a whole book here, you know, getting past no, all right? Most people don't even know how to say no. Never mind how to read a book and try and work out what that means. I had one girl, one student, and she had the tactic, just say no. That's my tactic, just say no, okay? And she was negotiating the other day, and she got a brilliant deal, all right, against another chap who was like, you know, really trying to hammer the price down, but she just kept saying no. And she got a good deal in the end. And she said, I felt so bad. I was nervous. I just, you know, but it was only because my tactic was there and I had to say no. But you know what? I got a really good deal. And it's like, yeah, because you're trying something you don't normally do. Now, try it a few more times so you get comfortable with it and confident with it, you know, and you'll never know exactly how much impact you had, but you can guarantee you're better than where you were before.
Yeah.
You know?
It's even with things like, this is not negotiating related, but when I used to work in like a pub and he'd be like, can you work this extra shift? And I'd just be too scared, be like, yeah, okay. And then it got to exams and I was like, I need to start saying no now because I've got exams. And he'd be like, oh, can you do these 2 extra shifts? And I was like, no, sorry. And it's the first time, it's so scary. And then he's like, that's fine. And just ask someone else. And I'm like, oh my God, like I could have said no so many times and he's fine.
I mean, in a negotiation, what that means is basically you're spending a lot of your own time in your own head. Yeah. And our imaginations can take root with us, you know. In that negotiation that you just had there, you could have had somebody else and it would have gone a completely different way, but you would probably be having the same assumptions before you got in. And one of the things that, you know, Fred and I would often be, you know, coaching and telling people is about preparation before you go in. And what I always say is that you're going to go in with assumptions, all right? Not a problem, but you need to challenge and test those assumptions. And you do that through the right questionings, all right? Because then once you've honed down the assumptions on the other party, now you're in a position to start putting proposals together or start finding the, you know, the value in the agreement to be had. What many people don't do is they don't either go in knowing the assumptions, they think in them as facts, and they don't test them and check them. So they end up with a deal that is great for them. They think it is, but they don't know. You know, and this is what you guys are doing. You're practicing now.
I think it's wonderful. I really do think it's great. So, which I'm happy to be involved. You know, it's not just my ego that says, "Yeah, I'm doing that." No, it is. I like it. It's no. The part of my question was because I'm getting involved with the university to do a couple of things around selling, in particular. You know, rather than negotiation, it's sort of sales academy, or what's selling all about, or influence and persuasion skills. I'm not really sure what we're going to call it quite yet. But again, because there are people which will give us their spare time because they get it. They get that this is actually an important thing. You're going to need to use it in real life. And though sales might be a horrible word, which is what we're going to look at early on, that it's not, why it shouldn't be, and why you're going to need to use it pretty fast in your career, like in your interview. That's part of thinking.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Well, look, Fred, if you're going into universities and doing your bit, that's great.
Well, and now I know the negotiation, who to come to if we can move it towards the negotiation piece as well. So,
well, yeah, there is that as well. Yeah, you know, you'll probably find you might come across a few students already done it.
Yeah, I'll get to negotiating with them then.
So, you're going to say something?
The next episode should be you guys negotiating.
I was actually going to request one now.
I
had that on my mind. I was like, here's a wild request. Can we just have you guys negotiate as well and put that bit in the video as well?
Like a blooper.
No, what else? No, what else? No, what else?
Can we use the student ambassador cards to show you guys? And then
I'd tell you what, do you want it? Yeah, Fred, are you up for it?
Oh yeah, big giggle, why not?
Since I'm recording it, I might have a choice on what goes in, to be honest, so we'll have a look. I'm thinking of doing some anti-lockdown parties, and I wanted to do some.
Are you having just one party? How about if you order 2 tons?
Well, that wasn't really the idea, no.
Okay, well, 600 round, but if I've got to deliver, it's 617.
Volumes. If I was to be able to squeeze a few more toffee apples out, look, it's my birthday this year. All right, I am actually 50. Can you do 550?
I'm 50 this year as well, as it happens. So yes, I will do.
Oh,
irrational piece of agreement making. Right, everybody give us feedback.
Leah comes back on the screen and I'm thinking, no, go off. I want to finish the deal. I want to see what's going to happen now. Hey, I enjoyed that. Thank you, Fred.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
So was that 550?
Yeah.
550.
We didn't. And we're bad. We should have done a summary and clarified what we were agreeing there.
Yeah, it was like 550, golden delicious, 2 to 3 weeks, 4 tons. I think I doubled up the tonnage, didn't I, from 2 to 4.
Yeah.
So same question to you guys. How do you feel?
Oh shit. I tell you what, genuinely, I felt quite good that we'd done a nice thing because I just forgot to look at my break even. I made a loss.
You didn't.
I did.
Not seriously.
I did.
What's 733? What was your 562? I think it was a birthday at the end.
Honestly, it threw me. Oh, how embarrassing.
I love the fact Phil said it's my birthday this year, and I'm like, everyone has their birthday every year.
He said it's his 50th birthday.
Yeah.
But he
it is
paused.
my 50th as well.
He paused before he said 50. He was just like, well, this year it's my birthday and I'm turning 50.
I should have put an odd number like 47. You know what? I use that.
One, absolutely can't use that video.
Yes, I bloody can.
And you need to put in the bit where you were like, whoever makes a loss isn't great at negotiating, because you definitely said that earlier.
Fred, look, listen. I think there's so many lessons. We've got to share that one.
Oh dear. Oh.
To be honest,
Honestly, no, but generally there is a lesson that it's to do with the way I took my notes because I'm using a different note setup. I mean, it's not an excuse, but I use a different note setup because I usually like to have something which is if you then I and have that printed out and I write in.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a templated thing. So I've only got a blank sheet of paper, and so I'd got that written at the top, and then as I was taking the notes of the progression, I'd gone down here, so it literally took my eye off it. Genuinely, figuratively, and literally took my eye off the price.
So this is the notes I take, and I show everybody how to do it. So basically, line down the middle, buyer, seller. So I put my number up here, but I also kind of put a imaginary number for you.
Yeah.
And then a couple of ideas, 2 tons, 6 tons, and whatever. And then I was just keeping notes, and I was also keeping notes of what you were saying as well. So, for me, that's how to do it. I mean, the point is, Freddie, we're not overly preparing for this. We've got some numbers. We should know the numbers. That's the only bit of information we need. So actually, this is a time for Tanishka and Aliyah to give us some feedback. So what did you see? What would you say?
Aliyah, do you want to go first or should I?
You go first. I'll just add.
Okay, that's brilliant. So I mean, I followed Phil's structure of making notes. So
you actually doing what I said as well. Yes, I like that.
The first thing that I loved was Phil was being inquisitive about what the apples are actually going to be used for. So you said you're going to use it for anti-lockdown parties, and Fred was like, "Wow, tell me more." And I was like, that is one great way of maintaining that relationship with the customer. So even if it's first time, but if you think that the seller is really interested in what you're doing and is ready to support you, then you might look for a long-term relation. So I think that's a great way to create a base of what the work relationship is going to look like. And then I think you asked for in what time period do you want the apples, and Phil said in 2 or 3 weeks. And then you show that as if you're calculating the price of apples based on that information that you had, and you put the first number down as 762. And Phil gave a brilliant professional flinch. I think he's like, that's way out of my league. That just cannot happen.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly add in there, it was almost 2 minutes in until the first number was actually put down. So on Tanishka's point about like building a relationship, like you didn't just throw numbers straight away, it was thought through.
Yeah, for my part, when I talked about the toffee lockdown, and Fred was like, "Oh, okay, tell me more." It was like, again, it's exactly that. It's build up a rapport, a little bit more interest. You never know what more information you might get. So that was really good. And then the 762 kind of threw me a little bit because it was exactly that. It was just on the wrong side of my position. Mine was 733. So 762 was like, I've got to not fall into the trap of just trying to get inside my number. I need to push a number down at the other end. But it also made it kind of easy just to do that sort of flinch because actually it wasn't acceptable. So I could easily say, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and once you said that it's not going to work, Fred, other than you taking it on himself, he just said, okay, what do you mean by way out? How much is your way out mean? And you're like, I'm looking for 320 pounds. So you just went half the number you already have so that you have that range to, come back and negotiate.
Now, the interesting thing is, so the other thing is, before we started the negotiation, I wrote 320 as the first number I wanted to go in there because I figured that maybe in the market, I kind of know the cards, I thought it might be around the 400 mark. So I put the 320 in there. If I hadn't put 320 in there, I might not have put it down because of the 766. You know what I mean? So I mean, Fred will probably back me up on this. If you go in a little bit prepared about what movements you're going to make, you can kind of stick to that a little bit easier than if you just try to do it off the wall.
Yeah, and knowing the cards, I kind of giggling. No, it's not cheating. It's like a professional buyer is going to know the market price.
Yeah.
They will know what stuff costs from where. That's their job. So they'll have. That's pretty much where we've got to be. Which is why we talked about that tactic by going really really dramatically different, they'll go, "You're just taking a mickey. I'm not even going to play. You've had your chance. I'm not talking to you because you're a clown." So you've got to be careful in real world to do that very dramatic thing, because I'd say no, you're playing.
Yeah.
But,
or you do the other thing, which is you give them a completely unreasonable alternative. You know, well, if you're going to come in at £2,000, actually, I'm only going to pay you 20 quid a ton. All right. So let's get those numbers out of the way. Let's talk about the proper deal that we can do here. So.
Yeah, that's true. And then Fred just asked about whether you're going to do one party or do I look for a long-term business? And then I think you doubled the amount that you were asking for. So you said, I'm asking for 2 tons actually. So Fred was like, okay, great. If you're asking for 2 tons, then £600 for if you come and pick up, and £617 for delivery. And again, you gave the professional friends, and he said the word, no, it's not going to work for me. And then he put in the birthday card, and that was brilliant. And Fred just was like sworn away by that, and the deal was $550 at the end.
It's yeah, and if you think about it, so what's the learning point? Couple, time. Yeah, Aliyah appeared. Oh, I'm running out of time. Want to do a deal? Under pressure. Bang! Something surprising happened. Yeah, which actually tweaked an emotion. So you got that cumulative effect of, yeah, let's go for it. And then like, what? Oh, it's done.
Afterwards, it's buyer's remorse, but seller's remorse.
Absolutely. It's like, so, you know, have you got the deal? Yeah. How much? 4 tons. Why are you looking so down? Because it's a bigger loss than if I'd only sold 1 ton.
But it was his birthday.
It happens. Yeah.
Interesting enough, I used the birthday one because this morning there was a cohort and the guy used that. He said, "Oh, it's my birthday." Oh, no, he didn't. He said, "Oh, my favorite number is 27. Could we agree on 527?" And he got it. I thought, yeah, another nice.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Funny.
All right. Aliyah, do you want to add anything?
I just enjoyed, well, I liked how Fred did his whole like odd number thing, but I've just really enjoyed the birthday, how much it threw him off.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Fred.
That's it, concentration. Going back, you mentioned what I said, tell me about. So, you know, TED questions? TED questions. Tell me, explain, describe. Technically, they're commands. But just like an open question, what, why, when, where, who, how. Yeah, if you throw a TED, so tell me more about that. Oh, explain what you mean. Using your intonation and just using that as a go-to, it opens loads up. TED.
You see, that would be a tactic, and I'd literally have TED question.
Yeah.
And then the idea during the negotiation is practice the TED questioning technique.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've got 17 tactics here, but I've got like 100 cards with different tactics all over them. And there's more out there as well. But yeah, so I knew you were up to something when you said, "Oh, explain more." But then I think that's also the procurement person in me after 25 years. We are so cynical of anything and anybody says. We never believe a word of it. I don't know why we do it, but we are terrible, absolutely terrible people like that. But no, it was good. It was useful. It's always good to be able to actually jump in and do this stuff yourself.
Badly.
Right. Okay. I tell you what.
Fact in his advisory capacity on the first.
You might have to give me that sort of artificial replace the numbers piece of software.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Send it me over to Descript. Oh, that's 562.
My birthday. Yeah, my birthday. I'm
62. Phil.
Right. All right then. Well, look, I've taken a good chunk of an hour and a half of your time. Okay, so look, I do genuinely appreciate it, Fred. You know, we only had a kind of a conversation not long ago. We're linked in. I love to see what you're doing in your posts. I think obviously the Fred and Phil show is definitely something we should maybe, have a little bit as a title for this one anyway.
I have to come back.
Dude, I tell you what,
that's why I did it.
this is what's going to happen, right? We're going to have the official negotiation, all right? And then we're going to have the Fred and Phil. We'll have the Fred and Phil outtake at the end to see who actually does whatever it is, yeah? You know what? I think that's pretty damn cool, actually.
If you're going to, I mean, content, the material. So I was just thinking, we were just chatting, but even that stuff we were doing afterwards, when I was just genuinely interested, what are you guys doing? Why are you doing? Why you want to learn? So that's what I wanted to know. I mean, that's actually quite interesting, just off the back. But it's a separate video. It's there, but there's the back. There's the kind of the backstory, or after the camera stopped, but it didn't, or something like that.
Yeah. I know for a fact that we're going to have people who kind of troll it in a way, it's not that good, or listen. Well, you know what? You're going to get that as well. But I know from the smiles that we get from you and the smiles that I get from every other student that does this, that there is benefit and value in doing it. So I'm going to keep on doing this. And I think for this kind of format, I think it's useful and important to let other people know that they can practice relatively simple. There are other ways of practicing, which is fine, but this is one way of doing it as well. All right, then. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. All right, ladies, thank you so much. All the best. Keep in touch.
Thank you.
All right.